What is going on, everybody? Good Sunday morning. Hope you guys are doing well. And we are moving along to the next positional group. If you can hear that in the background, by the way, that is my sugar glider running in his wheel. So just leave him be. He's fine. Nothing bad going on back there. But yeah, we're moving along to the safety position today. Going to be talking about safeties in this upcoming draft. And I know it's not the greatest positional group this year. The safeties this year are. There are some good ones, there are some interesting ones, but overall, we've seen better classes. And personally, even after having a chance to really comb over it, I'm not super into this crop. And I also know the Seahawks don't need a safety right now. They have two guys that have proven themselves capable of being good starters with Julian Love, who just got extended, by the way, and Kobe Bryant, who is entering the last year of his rookie deal and played really well in the 10 or so games he got to play at safety last year. But that doesn't mean the team isn't going to look that way. I do think they probably need a backup safety. I think they're a little bit thin with their safety depth. I think they could use another good player, somebody better than what they currently have. You've got Jarek Reed coming off a couple of significant injuries. Who knows what he is at this point? And if you want to play a lot of three safety sets, you're going to need to add somebody who's at least good. And even if you're not playing those three safety sets, you're going to need a better backup, I think. So maybe we see a day 3 pick used on a safety. And don't count anything out. If Mike McDonald and John Schneider look at this draft and they go, we think this safety is the thing that is going to make this defense special going forward long term, then I have no issue with them using the pick, whatever pick it takes for them to get that player. Now, personally, I don't know if the safeties in this class are necessarily worthy of being our first round pick. I think that's a little bit harder of a sell on me personally, but as a general concept, Kobe Bryant's in the last year of his deal, and he's good, but maybe McDonald wants his Kyle Hamilton, a truly elite safety. And neither of the guys we have are that guy. Julian Love is not that kind of safety. He's not that hyper elite guy. And Kobe Bryant is good, but he's not going to be some game wrecker on the level of a Kyle Hamilton. So if McDonald and Schneider see an opportunity to get that guy, I'm open to it. So is that guy in this draft? That's a little bit less clear, admittedly. But let's go ahead and take a look here and let's try to keep an open mind. If Schneider and McDonald like what they see, then I can, at least to a certain extent, get on board with that. So the generally considered top safety in this class is Malaki Starks. He has ultimately emerged as the number one safety on most big boards. The 21-year-old from Georgia. Pretty good size, about average as far as safety defensive backs go, about average as far as arm length goes, and a little better than average in terms of his testing scores, but you might kind of notice immediately, like, this is not elite testing. 4.5 40 is okay for a safety. 1.5 110 yard split is good, but this is not exactly an athletic phenom here. Okay, so the big boards, they all put him in the first, except for ESPN. They have him in the early second. Aggregate puts him at 21. So that is pretty close to where the Seahawks pick if you're just looking at the aggregate. The numbers over the last couple of years have been good. I think using box score stats to evaluate safety play is pretty questionable. I would not recommend it, but he's put up some good numbers over the last couple of years. Maybe not anything crazy over the top, but remember, it's Georgia. Jalen Carter didn't put up big numbers in Georgia's defense. What's the name of the guy who went number 1 overall to the Jaguars a few years ago? That guy, the edge rusher. He didn't put up big numbers in Georgia's defense. Defenders on Georgia typically do not put up big numbers because there are so many of them and they get rotated, and the way they play defense just kind of creates that. So what's good about Malaki Starks? What are the things about Malaki Starks that make him worthy of a first-round pick? He's versatile. He will be able to do box safety stuff and deep safety stuff. He'll be able to do both safety spots, which, remember, that's very important. We need a versatile safety. If you get one of these safeties that can only do one thing or can only play one role, it's not going to work. That's not McDonald's defense. McDonald's defense is all about the versatility and having both safeties be somewhat ubiquitous. He's very tough at the catch point. His ability to go above and beyond to make plays when the guy he's covering is getting targeted is very notable. He's very, very good at finding a way to get his hand on the ball or punch it out at the last second. Tracks the ball carrier all across the field. Works really well from sideline to sideline. Very rangy, makes plays all over the place. He's a good tackler. He's relatively form with his tackling. He's not going to miss a ton. He's not going to overextend himself trying to create big hits that result in him whiffing. It's hard to get a really square block on him. He's just kind of finds a way to slip through blockers and get to the ball carrier, which is a very important skill for these guys. He's got the instincts and the play recognition skills to protect his deep zones. If he's the deep safety, he's able to protect deep well. And he does have workable size and athleticism. I do want to stress that. He's not unathletic. He's not small. He's just not remarkable in either of those areas. Now, there are some issues here, and I must admit, while they are workable, the fact that we are dealing with a top safety in this draft that isn't an over-the-top athletic phenom is a little bit atypical, especially when we're going to talk about the second guy in a minute here. He's not a remarkable athlete. That's the first issue here. He won't be destructive near the line of scrimmage. I think he'll be good when you put him in the box. I think he's good in run support, but I don't think he's going to be somebody who just makes opposing defenses terrified of him. I don't think he's going to be somebody that is constantly just blitzing into the backfield and bringing down ball carriers. I don't think he's somebody that is going to be some dominant box safety. He also doesn't have the athleticism to be great in man coverage. I think if you put him in man coverage, he's not going to be able to keep up with some of the advanced route runners. He is going to be shaken, and he is going to be beaten by speedier, quicker wide receivers. And I don't think he's got the reactive athleticism to keep with him. He bites on fakes and misdirection a little too hard, I think. And that's something that I find a little disappointing because the idea of Malaki Starks is that he has instincts and play recognition at a really high level to overcome his not being a superstar athlete, but that's not really what we're seeing here, at least in my view. And I don't think his routes are always the best when he's trying to get to the ball carrier. So compared to other high-level safeties we've had in the draft recently, it's a little bit, I don't know, I wasn't as into Starks as I thought I would be before I started looking at some of the tape here. I do think he's worthy of a first-round pick, but I wouldn't consider him to be blue chip even for his position. Like when you're talking about the truly great safeties in the draft over the years. A guy like Jamal Adams going 6 overall. A guy like Kyle Hamilton going, I think he was in the top 10. Starks doesn't seem to me to be on that level. So I would put him in the top 25. I'm not sure if I would go higher than that. I feel like he is good. I feel like there's pretty much a guarantee he's going to be good. He has good instincts. He has a good understanding of where he needs to be. He has a good understanding of how to handle his roles. I don't know if I see the superstar over-the-top stuff. And I was a little bit surprised by that, I have to admit. But there is a very high floor here. And I think that if you get Starks, you are going to almost guaranteed get a good safety. I can't see any way this guy just flames out. And I can say the opposite about the next guy we're going to talk about. Nick Emmanwori of South Carolina. This is the guy who could be a superstar. This guy could be a super duper star. And there's been a lot of debate about Emmanwori over the last last several months. He was one of the big winners at the combine. He's huge. 6'3", over 6'3", 220 pounds, one of the biggest, tallest safeties of all time. Long arms, 32.5 inches. And he's fast. He's quick. He's explosive, like insane explosion. Had one of the longest broad jumps ever. 11 feet, 6 inches. 20 bench press reps, too, while we're here. 43-inch vert. He is an all-time athlete. Every big board except for Pro Football Focus has him in the first round. Walter Football actually has him 5th And look, don't get me wrong, Walter football, they march to the beat of their own drum. I'm not saying that they're necessarily my favorite big board aggregator or big board creator, excuse me. But the fact that somebody can say that is notable. 24th on the aggregate right now. There have been moments where Emmanwori's been the number one safety, and there have been moments where Starks is the number one safety. It does go back and forth. You look at the production over the last couple years, it's good. It's good. 6 interceptions, 10 passes deflected. Coverage, raw coverage numbers are pretty good. 88 tackles last year. Remember, he's on that South Carolina defense where he does have other good players, but he doesn't have a murderer's row of teammates. So, historically great athlete. That's where the good stuff starts. And honestly, this level of athletic prowess alone is worthy of your attention. He's got versatility. He's plenty big enough and destructive enough to be a box safety. He can play deep. He can protect the deep zones. He can do it all. He should be ubiquitous as a strong or free safety. Big range when contesting passes. He's so long and so big and so quick. His ability to cover ground at the last second to knock away a pass is just over the top great. He's good at finding the ball in the air. He's got good ball skills. He acts like the ball is meant to go to him when it's in the air. He's athletic enough for man coverage as well. Like when you're this explosive, this quick, this fast, you can hang with receivers through their routes. So his athletic profile is someone who will be able to handle man coverage as well, which could be very valuable to certain teams. And by the way, this is all as 21 years old, so there should be room for him to get better. Now, the issue is there's a lot more that he needs to get better at. So let's look at some of the drawbacks. There have been a lot of people who have accused Emmanwori of taking plays off and not bringing it every snap. There's been a lot of wondering about his level of engagement, that he has all these tools, but there are going to be some snaps where he just doesn't quite bring it. He doesn't take the greatest angles to the ball. There are a lot of things on a technical level that I feel like he's not doing great, that his athletic gifts bail him out of. And I don't know how much I love that coming from a safety. Granted, he is only 21 years old. Granted, he is someone who should improve as time goes by. But there are a lot of rough edges here. He's a little slow to trigger downhill sometimes. I feel like he doesn't totally trust his instincts. I feel like he doesn't totally trust his reads. So sometimes he's just a little bit slow to trigger downhill. So I'm not really loving that. He has played enough in college to be a little bit further along there. He doesn't read plays very well yet. I don't think his instincts are finely tuned yet. I don't think his understanding of play recognition is there yet. And I would be a little more at peace with that because he's only 21, if not for the fact that accused of taking plays off and not bringing it every snap. A lot of people say it. I think there's validity to it. And if that is the case, that makes it a little bit harder to project him out to working through these issues. He may end up just with those issues for his career. So that is, I think, a significant concern. He's incredibly talented, but he's raw and inconsistent. That's the story here. Now, it's going to be an intense debate. Do you want the relatively finished product with less athleticism in Starks, or do you want the question mark in Nick Emmanwori? Normally, I would go with the question mark. I would go with the freak athlete that just hasn't quite gotten to where he needs to get to yet. But the issue that I have is the idea of him taking plays off. That, I think, is a little bit harder to defend. That, I think, is a little bit harder to imagine. We're going to be talking about in a couple days here about a very talented linebacker that has some of the same issues as Emmanwori. I haven't heard anybody accuse that linebacker, and if you know, you know, of taking plays off. So while I still think Emmanwori's a first rounder, I think he's barely a first rounder, just in the back end of the first. And I think that Starks is a better prospect because I'm not worried about him just not being that interested in football. All right. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Another video in a few hours. Let's go.